Hello guys, welcome to Passages 1, Unit 4A, Early Birds and Night Owls. In this unit, we are going to talk about reduced time clauses, and also we are going to see some phrasal verbs for energy and sleep and some useful expressions to give advice. Let's begin. Reduced time clauses. These clauses show time relationship. If the subject is the same in both clauses of the sentence, time clauses with before, after, and while can be reduced. However, other time clauses such as ever since, as soon as, until, whenever, and from the moment cannot be reduced. For example, before I go to bed, I watch a movie or a TV show on Netflix. Before going to bed, I watch a movie or a TV show on Netflix. As soon as Mike wakes up, he takes a shower to go to work. In the first example, we have the time expression or the conjunction for time, before. Remember that we can use before, after, and while, and in this case, if the subject is the same in the first part of the sentence and then is the same in the second part of the sentence, then you can reduce the first part of the sentence. When you reduce, you're going to delete the subject and the verb is going to be transformed into the ing form or gerund form. As you can see, it says, before I go to bed, I watch a movie or a TV show on Netflix. The first part of the sentence says, before I go to bed. In this part, the subject is I. The second part of the sentence is, I watch a movie or a TV show on Netflix. If you analyze, the subject in the two parts of the sentence is I and I. So then, for the first part of the sentence, you delete the subject, and the verb goes in the gerund form. That's why we say, before going to bed, I watch a movie or a TV show on Netflix. Like in the first example says, before I go to bed. But in the second example says, before going to bed. Because we have the same subject in the first and in the second part of the sentence. Now, for ever since, as soon as, until, whenever, and from the moment, we cannot reduce. For example, as soon as Mike wakes up, he takes a shower to go to work. In this case, this is the only way we can do it. We cannot use the reduction. It has to be like this because with these expressions, the expressions that you see below, like ever since, as soon as, until, whenever, and from the moment, we are not going to reduce the sentence. Reduce time clauses. If the subject is the same in both clauses of the sentence, time clauses with before, after, and while can be reduced. For this is the formula that you need to follow. You need a conjunction. The conjunction in this case is going to be the connector for the time. And we have while, before, and after. Then you have a subject, a verb, a complement. You need a comma. And then you need another subject, another verb, and another complement. Remember, when we talk about time conjunctions, the connectors while, before, and after. These are the uses. Use while for actions happening at the same time. If you have two actions and one action is happening at the same time that the other one is happening, so we use while for two actions happening simultaneously. Before is used for an action that happens earlier than another action. And you use after to talk about an action that happens later than another one. Here we have some examples. Before my children take an exam, they study with their notes. Before taking an exam, my children study with their notes. After John ate dinner last night, he cleaned all the dishes alone. After eating dinner last night, John cleaned all the dishes alone. While I do exercise, I listen to electronic music on my phone. While doing exercise, I listen to electronic music on my phone. The last one As you can see, there is only one form. And this is happening because the subject is not the same in the two parts of the sentence. In the first part, we have the subject I. But in the second part, we have my mother. So those are different subjects because I is obviously I and my mother is she. So the subjects are different. That's why you cannot use the reduced form with gerund. That's why we simply have, before I go to school every day, my mother makes me breakfast. This is the only way. You cannot make the reduction because the subjects are different. But if you analyze example number 1, example number 2, and example number 3, there is something in common, and it's that they have the same subject in the first part and in the second part of the sentence. Let's analyze. Before my children take an exam, they study with their notes. My children and they, it's the same. It's the same subject. So it's fine. You can do the reduction. Before taking an exam, my children study with their notes. In the second example, John is the subject and he is also the subject. So John and he are the same. That's why we can do the reduction. And the reduction is, after eating dinner last night, John cleaned all the dishes alone. And for number 3, the subject, I, in the first part of the sentence, is also I in the second part. That's why we can also do the reduction. Like, while doing exercise, I listen to electronic music on my phone. Remember, the reduction is basically you have to delete the subject from the first part of the sentence, and the verb is going to be conjugated in the gerund form. If the subjects are not the same, remember, we cannot do the reduction. If the subjects are not the same in the two parts of the sentence, we cannot do the reduction. For these time clauses with ever since, as soon as, until, whenever, and from the moment, we cannot use the reduction. They cannot be reduced. For this, you also need a conjunction, a subject, a verb, a complement, the comma, another subject, a verb, and a complement. But here, the reduction is not possible. Remember that the meaning of these time conjunctions or the use is the following. Use ever since to talk about something that started in the past and continues. We use as soon as to indicate that one thing happens right after another. Use whenever to mean every time something happens. Use from the moment to say that something started. Use until to say that something happens up to a certain time. So when you use until, you indicate when something stops happening. For example, ever since she moved to the United States, she has been very sad. As soon as they finish their homework, they play with their PlayStation. Whenever I call my friend Sai, we talk for hours about our lives. From the moment I get to work, I start conversations with our customers. Until he got married, he used to go to clubs every single weekend. And the last one, we work out around the park until we feel really tired and hungry. For the first one, remember ever since is used to indicate when an action started happening, and the action is still happening. So in this case, when did the action start? This action started when this person moved to the United States, and the person is still feeling sad in the present. So ever since she moved to the United States, she has been very sad. The second one, as soon as, they finish their homework, they play with their PlayStation is to indicate that something happens right after another or very, very soon after another action finishes. That means that they do the homework, and after the homework, right away, finish the homework, they play with the PlayStation. They don't wait like 20 minutes or 1 hour or 2 hours. No, they finish the homework and immediately they go and play with their PlayStation. Whenever is used to say that something happens every time something happens. Like whenever I call my friend Sai, we talk for hours about our lives. Whenever is like every time. Every time that I call my friend Sai, we talk a lot for hours. Or it's also similar to when. When I call my friend Sai, we talk for hours about our lives. From the moment is to say also when something starts happening. From the moment I get to work, I start conversations with our customers. I say that in this case, when something happens. From the moment I get to work, in that moment right away, I get to work and I start conversations with the customers working in a call center. And until he got married, he used to go to clubs every single weekend. Until is used to indicate when an action stops happening. For this case, this person used to go to clubs every single weekend. Every weekend, this person would go to clubs. But this action stopped. When? When this person got married. So we use until to indicate when an action stops happening. For the last example, we work out around the park until we feel really tired and hungry. In this case, we are using the connector or the conjunction in the middle. It's possible to use these connectors or conjunctions in the middle, and that's why I gave you the last example. The last example is using the connector in the middle, but you can use the connector at the beginning of the sentence. You can say, until we feel really tired and hungry, we work out around the park. Or, we work out around the park until we feel really tired and hungry. So the connector can be at the beginning of the sentence or in the middle. If you use the connector in the middle, you don't need a comma to divide the two sentences or the two parts of the sentence. These are some phrasal verbs related to energy and sleep. Burn out, to lose all your energy. Calm down, to stop feeling upset, angry, or excited. Chill out, to relax or take it easy. Doze off, to fall asleep, especially for a short period of time. Perk up, to become more cheerful, energetic, or to get more energy. Race off, to go quickly. Sleep over, to sleep or stay at another person's house. Turn in, to go to bed. These are some useful expressions that you can use to give advice or recommendation. For example, if person number 1 says, I have problems remembering things. In this case, this person is expressing that he or she has problems remembering things, or he or she has a bad memory. So, if you want to give advice or recommendations, you can use these expressions. For example, have you ever thought of asking someone to remind you important things? You might want to do memory exercises or practice focus. It might not be a bad idea to use apps or notes to remember things. The way I see it, you ought to review important things often. Well guys, that was everything for today. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time. Bye.